unless you try to say anything of great substance in 6 minutes, it's really, really hard to do. So I think they all did a marvelous job, and I'd like to. Since we started with Candace, what we'd like to do is start the first round of questioning with Rabbi. And we'll ask a question that of everyone. And this is the question. Joel, did you have? Okay. From your faith teachings, is there any particular sin or bad action that our nation as a whole is most guilty of? And what do we need to do to rectify it?
Before I answer the question, since Alita thanked us, I want you to know this whole forum idea is originally Alita's brainchild, and she's been doing this 23 years. I always like to thank her.
Thank you, Sandy. I was going to call you a little devil, but now I won't.
All right. We've been meeting when we were NCCJ, and then we were NCCJ, but it meant something else, and now we're the Interfaith Council of Southern Nevada. So we have really grown, and we're really glad that you attend these forums, and it's wonderful. So, you know, how do I answer that question in a succinct fashion? I would say one of the basic tenets of Judaism is the philosophy called tikkun olam. There's a Kabbalistic or mystical notion that the world was created and then it was kind of smashed, and our job is to be partners with God and bring this world back together. And so I would say if there's any sin, it's, oh my God, the divisiveness in our country and the polarization of opinions and actions where people don't know how to have civil discourse, which hopefully is modeled here tonight, in such a way that we are stronger working together to solve the nation's problems than we are apart. And so, in a sense, we all need to engage in tikkun olam. We need to repair a broken world. And when we learn how to do that, no matter what our race, religion, or origin, we will be strong, and then I think God will be happy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Vote for me.
Aw, Sandy. Because every second counts. I want you to be able to applaud everyone, but the truth is we'll lose a lot of time with applause. So if we'll wait to the end of the forum, that would be very much appreciated. So Sandy, you got the only round of applause that we're going to get right now anyway. Dave, same question for you.
That's a very, very profound question, and I think it's something that is on the minds of many of us, especially as things are coming as we decide many things in our nation this November. In Buddhism, we definitely just talk about sin is more of a concept we call karma. So there's causes. Basically, karma means action, and all of the karma comes from the actions from our thoughts, words, and our behavior. So with this being said, there's different types of causes we can make, and thus it brings about different types of effects. Some are negative, or we can maybe call them evil or bad, and there are good causes or positive causes that create value. So anything that creates anti-value or seeks to harm others or use others, this is a negative cause. And what our country is doing today, I'm sure many other countries do as well, but definitely it's our responsibility on how we start to change and make it proactive. I think not to do, like I mentioned before, not to do good, just say, oh, everything is okay, it's not my fault, it's the politician's fault, it's someone else's fault. To lay the responsibilities to someone else is definitely the same as not doing good, is in fact supporting evil. So that is why we definitely teach we have to be proactive and we have to be responsible with what's going on, not even in our own personal lives, but what's going on in our society, in our country, in the world today. And it's difficult, it's tough to even take care of your own self, right? In today's society, with the economy the way it is. But that's a challenge as Buddhists, is we try to challenge to think of others as well, not only for ourselves, but for others. And so the main thing that I think might be a way to solve some of these problems is to become proactive. Find your potential within, the power within that all of us have. Don't deny that power that you have, that one single person can change the entire world. And that's the basic crux of what Buddhism teaches. We all are the Buddha inside. We have this amazing potential. We can do anything. One person can change the world for the better or for the worse, right? You could be a Hitler, or you can be a Martin Luther King, and create justice. So this is what we believe is every single person has that power, and then it's our responsibility to manifest that power and change our environment, whether it's our families or our workplace or the country, into the direction of good. I hope that makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you. Good audience. Thank you. Okay. And I would like to ask our panelists on these questions to try to keep your questions, your answers to about a minute. That way we can get more questions in. So, what are you going to say really fast, Bill?
Okay. The way I interpret the question is there a national sin? And I would say yes. And I think it's not listening to or believing in the documents upon which this nation is founded. The Declaration of Independence, the Constitution, all men are created equal in one nation under God. We don't live like that. We don't live like one nation. We don't believe that others are equal. We separate people by religion, by skin color, by ethnicity, by monetary standards, whatever. And that's what is polarizing our country now, is we try to demonize the other person. That's a good word in light of tonight's topic. To demonize the opposite, to demonize those who disagree with me as they are the evil one. And so I think we need to get back to the real meaning of what I believe our founding fathers and mothers said, is that all are created equal. To put it in a Christian context, Paul wrote, in Christ there's no longer slave or free, male or female, Jew or Greek. We're all one in Christ Jesus. We need to live that and believe it.
Thank you. Okay.
The religious science teaching would say that we are missing the mark by forgetting that each one is a divine presence, and that whether it's your neighbor across the street, across the ocean, that each one of us is an individualized expression of the divine. And as a nation, our responsibility then would be to recognize that not only within our internal affairs, but outwardly with all of our international relationships as well.
Thank you.
I think it's a great question, and I firmly believe that the great sin of this nation is pride. The problem with pride is that when our hearts are full of pride, we commit perhaps the gravest sin, because we forget the two great commandments, which are to love God and to love others. And when we begin to elevate ourselves, we start to love and show who the real object of our affection is, and that is the person we're seeing in the mirror. Christ is the perfect antidote for pride, and he has shown us by his example how we can serve others and always put someone else before ourselves. And I honestly think if we could all learn from that example and employ it in our lives, that we would need no law enforcement and we could close all of our jails. Wouldn't that be a great day?
Is that on? On now. It is now.
Yeah. You're good.
Okay.
Okay.
We don't again, we don't really have that concept of sin, but we do have that concept of doing harm. And it seems to me that we as a nation perhaps are doing harm in two areas. One is the willingness to go to war and the unwillingness to work for peace. And I'm with the Temple of Goddess Spirituality that was established by a peace activist, and that's one of our goals. And the other thing that I think in which we are doing harm is the environmental devastation that is occurring. And I hope that we're all working very, very hard to reduce our carbon footprint.
Thank you. Okay. Our first